Nintendo rumor. Classic Legend of Zelda remake is arriving in 2024. Ocarina of Time. A Link to the Past. What are we talking? You know? Thoughts? Get ready for more Zelda content next year, according to the latest speculation surrounding. I bet it releases with the new console too, though. The Nintendo Epic, this might be happening soon. The rumors were fueled after a popular industry insider posted a cryptic tweet. While the Nintendo fans tried to break down the code, there are some credible theories that suggest the tweet might be a direct hint to a Zelda remake. But how far does the theory stand from fact? Out. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I had a discussion here recently. There was like an article we covered where it was like, you know, should Ocarina of Time be remade? And I covered it in depth. I actually have an article on YouTube about it, you know. And I think that, you know, there are a lot of people, a lot of traditional gamers that grew up with that game, and that will be like, no, don't you dare, don't you dare. But I think that people have to be a little bit more open-minded about it. Where if you have that kind of initial thought process about don't you dare touch Ocarina of Time, don't you ever, it's going to be remade at some point. I'm willing to bet on that, and you should be prepared for that. And I think that here's the thing. Ocarina of Time is an absolutely amazing game, right? It's a game that is iconic for a reason, and people love it so much for a reason. It's been defining for the industry for so long. You know, it's an impressive piece of gaming software, and I think that what people have to understand is this is actually part of a way to preserve video gaming history. I think that's the way you need to look at it. For anybody that's having an issue accepting the fact that a game like Ocarina of Time will be remade, it is, in a sense, a way of preserving video gaming history. We have a much younger generation of gamers all the way around that, while you would hope they have experienced the original, quite potentially they haven't, right? Quite potentially they have not experienced Ocarina of Time in its original form. And I think that Nintendo bringing Ocarina of Time into a modern remake gives a younger generation of gamers the opportunity to experience the game, at least in some form or fashion. Will it be the exact same game? Absolutely not. It will not be the exact same game. And I think that people have to accept that if it was to be an Ocarina of Time remake, that they're not trying to replace or make something better than that game ever was. But it does give a newer generation of gamer the opportunity to experience such a fantastic game that they might not otherwise get to play. They might not otherwise go back and experience, you know? And I think that's a win. I think that's a win, you know? So, I know how off-putting it can be to have some of these old nostalgic games for us get addressed in a remake fashion. You know, it's like, oh God, you can't do that. You can't touch that. But I think there's we have to think about how important it is to have these fantastic pieces of software that have been so defining for the video game as a whole, still have some way to be experienced, even if it is in a remade style, you know? And I've said this all along, games that are remade, there's a very delicate process that goes along with that. It's like a tightrope walk, right? You have to really still harness the essence of what made the game so great in the first place. If you don't stick true to that, you are going to lose, and you're going to piss a lot of people off too. So it's not like it's easy. They've got a very, very difficult task on their hands if they're going to remake a game like, you know, and we're theory crafting here. We don't know for sure. But if you're going to remake a game like Ocarina of Time, you've got to be very, very careful. Because you know they're going to modernize it in a lot of ways too. But you cannot stray too far away from what that game was originally also. You've got to keep the majority of the core of what that experience was in there. Otherwise, you're going to fail. And the best remakes that are ever done do a very, very, very good job of that. Had the gold cartridge on the 64 release, pre-order t-shirt I got with the, oh yeah? Yeah. I had a gold cartridge Legend of Zelda on regular Nintendo. Unfortunately, after I left home, that's one of those cartridges that got didn't make it back to me. I don't know where it went. I had gold cartridges Legend of Zelda on regular Nintendo, and it's gone. Most of my games made it back to me, but that one didn't make it. That's a tough one. I actually traded a kid at school for that. I don't remember what game I traded him. We were in I think like 5th grade or something. You know, elementary school, something like that. Maybe somewhere around that time. And I talked this kid into trading me. Still have the shirt. That's sick, dude. Talked this kid into trading me a gold cartridge Legend of Zelda on regular Nintendo for some other game. I can't remember what it was. And got away with the gold cartridge, dude. Way back in the day. But something happened to it. I don't know. Whenever I left home as a young adult, most of my stuff got back to me. My parents did a really, really phenomenal job at taking care of my stuff, getting it back to me years later. And but the gold cartridge isn't there. I don't know what happened to it, unfortunately. But I can't complain, dude. My parents did a killer job being able to get all my stuff back to me. So obviously, let's get back into this. The Legend of Zelda is one of the most celebrated gaming franchises of all time. The Nintendo franchise has been firmly in the business for 3 decades now. Despite having such a long campaign, it still manages to appeal to gaming fans. Tears of the Kingdom of 2023 at Nintendo Epic was just another testament to the Zelda legacy. Now, it looks like Nintendo has some special plans for 2024. Let's have a look at what the cryptic tweet says and why the deduction fuels rumors of a classic Zelda remake. Nintendo allegedly bringing another Zelda epic to your Switch in 2024. Recently, an infamous industry scooper took to their X account and made the most cryptic post. They wrote, CZR 2024. Now, for most gamers, this might not seem relevant to any upcoming video game project, but there's a catch. Nintendo fans aren't strangers to such coded tweets around the Zelda projects. In fact, TLOZ titles have previously been subjected to quite a similar thread of encrypted leaks that eventually turned out to be direct hints toward a big forthcoming release. The most common deduction fans have made from the tweet is that Nintendo has planned a classic Zelda remake release next year. For context, C in the code stands for classic, Z for Zelda, and R for remake, the theory claims. Also, another intriguing speculation alleges that C in the code may also mean Capcom integration for the Zelda remake. However, there hasn't been any official nod towards this or any of these claims. What? Why? Why would Capcom have anything to do with it? But if the rumors are to be trusted, fans aren't far away from an official announcement. What makes the leaks more interesting is the fact that very similar episodes have already happened in 2023. Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's wild to believe that there will be a Another Zelda game released alongside the new hardware coming for Nintendo this coming year. Even a Zelda remade game, especially if it's a game being remade, such as like, dude, Ocarina of Time or something. You know, a big game to release in the Zelda sphere for Nintendo alongside their new hardware. That's a big pull for people, and it'll probably be downgraded and you know, released on their previous gen as well, more than likely. Because let's be fair, everybody knows how this works for Nintendo, right? Just because you own it doesn't mean you own it across all their systems that can play it. That'd be absurd, right? I mean, I don't know how many times I need to talk about this, but yeah. That's usually the way it works. If you want to own a game on multiple Nintendo platforms, you have to own it on all those platforms that you want to play it on, because they're going to make you double and triple dip as much as they can to get as much money out of you as they can. All right.